Greater Oceania, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand. Group 3, Video 4, by Sagar Patel, Daniel Tierney, Nicole Jones, and Douglas Appia. U.S. companies abroad in Indonesia. U.S. and Indonesian companies are signing 11 trade and investment agreements that are worth a combined $10 billion over time. Companies such as Lockheed Martin are providing advanced weapon targeting systems for Indonesian F-16 fighter jets. ExxonMobil is selling 1 million tons of liquid natural gas to state-owned oil and gas company Pertamina for 20 years, starting in 2025, and Honeywell is supplying turboprop engines to Indonesian aerospace company Dirgantara. The U.S. has a heavy presence abroad. From 2016, the U.S. foreign direct investment in Indonesia was $14.56 billion. Indonesia is a top 10 market for U.S. agricultural products. Some top companies that have a large presence in Indonesia are ExxonMobil, American Express, Amway, Arco, Avon, and Babcock & Wilcox. Why should the U.S. invest in Indonesia? As stated before, Indonesia is a top 10 market for U.S. agricultural products. Indonesia is an economy on the rise and is a major destination for foreign direct investments. Investment opportunities look promising in all sectors, from infrastructure to manufacturing and services. Indonesia has a diverse set of natural resources and is in a prime position where demand is high. The population is growing at a rapid rate, and it is very attractive to investors looking to capitalize on the consumer market. Indonesia is entering a sweet spot with a young working population that has sustained economic growth that will fuel consumer spending. Indonesia has 50% of their population under the age of 30. They are highly adaptive to new technologies. Another reason to invest in Indonesia is that its aviation market is growing at 20% per year, and it favors U.S. products. The banking market offers significant opportunities for IT and banking equipment, software, and technology providers. The Indonesian military has expanded its budget, which creates more opportunities for U.S. defense manufacturers to sell military aircraft, vehicles, and communication systems. Indonesia has historically had a negative investment list, which places restrictions on foreign direct investments. In 2016, the list was revised that eased restrictions. Some industries that opened up were the film industry, restaurants, informal education, hospital management services, and manufacturing of raw materials for medicine. While there are many reasons to invest in Indonesia, it is not without its risks. Infrastructure and networks have not been maintained to keep up with the rapid growth of the consumer economy. These increase transaction costs and make the process more inefficient. While the current regime is working on reducing trade barriers, bureaucracy still clogs everything up. Laws are conflicting and confusing. Indonesia has started to implement local content laws that may prevent some products from being sold in the country. And while anti-corruption steps have been taken, it still remains a problem throughout the country. Also, competition from third country firms such as Singapore, China, Japan, Australia, and other regional rivals can be overwhelming. Environmental concerns are something to be conscious of when thinking about investing in Indonesia. Indonesia is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an area with a high degree of tectonic activity. There is a constant risk of volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods, and tsunamis. Illegal deforestation is also a growing issue, as is water pollution from industrial waste and air pollution in urban areas. Taking everything into account, Indonesia is a very attractive spot for U.S. firms to invest into. Indonesia is Southeast Asia's largest economy, and with a population of 266,719,112 and rapidly growing, there is an enormous market to tap. Indonesia is loaded with natural resources that make investing an attractive option. Indonesia posted a 5.2% GDP growth in 2017 and looks to keep on growing. Doing business in Indonesia has gotten better over the year. Their ease of doing business rank is now 72, and it has jumped up 19 spots from just a year ago. Indonesia, revising their negative investment list, now offers foreign investors the opportunity to expand into new sectors. All the while, the Indonesian government is cracking down on corruption, making the overall landscape of doing business more attractive. Indonesia has one of the fastest growing middle classes in the world. By 2030, 90 million Indonesians will join the consumer class. The U.S. has a large presence in Australia, with companies such as Apple, Calvin Klein, Domino's, KFC, Ralph Lauren, Target, Victoria's Secret, and many, many more. When looking to invest in Australia, make sure you choose the appropriate company structure. Choosing the right structure is perhaps the most crucial consideration. The wrong structure can lead to inefficient outcomes both commercially and from a tax standpoint. Businesses generally operate in Australia through a corporate structure, i.e. a public or private company. Other vehicles are available for foreign investors such as a foreign branch, trust, or other special purpose vehicle. Take a look at the financing options when looking to invest in Australia. Debt or equity. The decision for which of these is most appropriate for your business is generally one regarding availability, quantum, and tax efficiency. Foreign investors may wish to lend funds to the Australian operation or increase their equity stake through the issue of further shares. Oversight and management. Australian companies require an Australian resident director to represent the company. This person can either be solely for disclosure signing purposes or serve and act as a representative of the foreign company in Australia. There are also various sources on Australia that can assist you with finding the right person to expand operations into Australia, from recruitment firms to domestic chamber of commerce. Tax implications are a major consideration when investing in a foreign company, to ensure that obligations in that country are not only met but efficiently and allow for the effective repatriation of profits to the head company. Australia has numerous double tax agreements with foreign countries that seek to minimize any potential double taxation scenarios. Also, Australia's tax system is on a self-assessment basis, so the Australian Taxation Office is responsible for levying and enforcement of corporate tax, which is payable at 30%. Furthermore, any transactions between related entities must be conducted on an arm's-length basis. The Australian government has various grants and tax incentives available to Australian businesses. These include the following: Research and Development Tax Incentive, a 45% refundable tax offset for companies engaging in innovation and experimental activities. Commercialization Australia, grants are available for companies looking to commercialize new and innovative products. A matching requirement applies and is available in the following areas: skills and knowledge, proof of concept, experienced executives in early stage commercialization. Export Market Development Grant, grants are available for Australian companies looking to export their IP or products. Grants are provided for primarily marketing expenditure. And then Australian Renewable Energy Agency, grants are provided for projects in the renewable energy space. There are various employment issues to consider in Australia, including employment taxes, visas, and superannuation. Australia's industrial and workplace relation laws have undergone significant change in recent times through government initiatives designed to make the labor market more flexible and efficient. Given Australia's lucrative demographic, many businesses enter the Australian market with a view to exit. Structuring the business in the right way to ensure that it is appropriate for future trade sale, listing, or private equity buyout is important. The Australian Stock Exchange is the national stock exchange, and other small exchanges are also operational. Australia also has deep venture capital and private equity markets across various industries, so the options are plentiful in terms of potential partners or trade buyers. Building this network through your financial and corporate advisors in Australia is a good way to position the business for a potential future sale. Several U.S. businesses operate in New Zealand. For example, HP, Sharp, Cisco, Microsoft, and IBM. New Zealand and the United States are close strategic partners. They have a deep and long-standing friendship, united by a commitment to promote a free, democratic, secure, and prosperous world. Under the 2010 Wellington Declaration, the United States and New Zealand agreed to a new focus on practical cooperation in the Pacific and an enhanced dialogue on a range of international issues. In regards to Antarctica, including the safeguarding of the environment, scientific research into key concerns such as climate change and supporting the Antarctic Treaty System, Pacific region stability, security, and governance, counterterrorism, and countering the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction in the Asia-Pacific region and further afield, and trade both internationally through WTO and regionally through the APEC. The major areas of opportunity and development in New Zealand are infrastructure and housing affordability, transport, tourism, and the digital economy. New Zealand is a great place for U.S. firms to invest into. According to the Heritage Foundation's 2016 index, New Zealand's entrepreneurial environment is one of the world's most efficient and competitive. Startup companies enjoy a great flexibility under licensing and other regulatory frameworks. The labor regulations facilitate a dynamic labor market. New Zealand, which has the lowest subsidies among the OECD countries, removed all farm subsidies more than 3 decades ago and spurred the development of a vibrant and diversified agricultural sector. New Zealand recognizes the importance of their country's development, and in doing so is willing to actively encourage outside investors to do just that. Invest in New Zealand. New Zealand has made their laws and regulations to be quite easy to do business in their country, i.e., simplifying the business rules and taxes. New Zealand ranks in the top 3 of the ease of doing business list for the ease of starting a business, dealing with construction permits, registering property, protecting minority investors, and for getting credit. Getting money into or out of New Zealand is easy and there are very few restrictions on what you can or can't invest in. Plus, the tax rules have some features that are very positive for investors.